Look, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but I got a question for you. What's on your cross today? What I mean by what's on your cross today is, what challenge are you carrying? What burden are you carrying? Or what do you need to sacrifice? What do you need to completely get rid of or eliminate from your life? We all have crosses to bear, whether we realize it or not. And my cross to bear for today is temptation. Let me tell you, I got up around 6:30 this morning to go to the gym, and as you can see, I made it. But best believe, temptation was standing in between me and making it out that door, and not in the way that you think. Earlier before is, getting out of bed and getting out of them comfy blankets and getting dressed. But this temptation was different. I'm at the point now, by the grace of God, where it starts to feel like a habit. It starts to feel like automatic. So those days, they do happen here and there, but they're fewer and farther between. The temptation I had today was some donuts. And let me tell you, I failed, but it's all good. It's all good. My wife yesterday, she brought in some donuts from Panda Donuts, and man, in there was one of my favorite donuts. This hit me from my childhood, and it's them apple fritter donuts. Oh man, I love them. The cool thing about apple fritter donuts is the more deformed and crazy they look, the better they are. Because they got the nooks and crannies and the crispy, crunchy, and the glaze. And I'm already setting myself up for failure the way I'm describing it, so I'm gonna just leave it at that. But my wife brought some donuts yesterday, and she was like, yeah, one of my coworkers brought it, and I was trying to give it away, but I didn't get a chance, I forgot, and the day got the best of me, so I was like, let me just bring it home. And I was like, oh, it's all good, but once I opened that box, I opened that box. Don't open the box, don't open up Pandora's box. I opened that box, and it was like, oh, a golden light shone out of that box in the form of an apple fritter, which I haven't had in a mighty long time. So anyway, I listened to what temptation normally, says to you, and I succumbed to temptation by, first off, it was the thought that went in my head was, oh, you know what, just a little taste, just a little bit. That's how it normally starts, it creeps in. And I justified it by saying, you know what, let me just cut it in half. I asked her, babe, hey, you want to split it? Cool. Gave her half the apple fritter, I ate the other half. And I told her about, my childhood, how my brother and I and my sister, sometimes we try to go, if my parents took us to the grocery store, who could get the best apple fritter, get the biggest one, and we would trash them things. Oh, they were so good. And she tried it, she was like, that was good. She loved it. So anyway, that was yesterday. Had half of it, and that was it. You know what I mean? Cool. Today, on my way to the gym, it was dark in the house, everybody asleep, and I'm on my way out the door, and I see that box again, and it's like, don't open that box, but I opened it, and again, it was dark in the kitchen, but it was like, oh, it shined a bright light, it lit up that whole kitchen, and there were other donuts, and then, of course, that voice went in, let me get just a little taste, let me get a half, cut half of a coconut donut, ate that, and then I closed the box. Then I was like, oh, let me go get another one. Let me get just a little bit more. I'm about to go to the gym. Half of the sprinkle donut, cut it in half, ate that. And I was like, oh, you know what? They had the glazed, cinnamon roll one. Went and ate half of that. Just that one you peel off, right? So it don't look so bad. You just peel off a couple of the edges. Ate some of that. Next thing you know, 3.5 donuts later, I'm like, bro, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go to the gym. Let me leave these donuts alone. It says, I believe in James 4:7, submit to God, resist the devil, and he shall flee from you. And I think normally our first trigger when we face temptation is to try to resist. We try to resist the devil first. But it says, submit to God first. And I should have submitted to God. It would have made it much more easier for me to, avoid that temptation. But it is what it is. What's done is done. the donuts are eaten. All right, I still made it to my way to the gym, had a great workout, but it had me thinking about an acronym that could help me whenever I fall. Of course, to avoid the temptations, again, submit to God, resist the devil, he shall flee from you. But what about when you fail, like today, when it's too late, right? You still got the whole day ahead of you, and you're like, oh man, I messed up, and you just see yourself as a failure. I got an acronym for you. And this one's interesting because, nowadays, the kids are talking about big back, right? You got the big back meals and, big back that. So my acronym for you today is back. But instead of big back, it's gonna be bounce back. All right, so back, B-A-C-K. The first B in back is the breathe. Breathe and bless yourself. And what I mean by that is don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Look, I ate the donuts. I did beat myself up for a split second, but then I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm gonna keep it rolling. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna sweat it. I'm gonna keep it moving because this is all part of the journey, and it's not the end of the world. As long as I don't make it a habit, it's all good. A is to assess the triggers. Literally consider, why did you do what you do? One of my favorite songs from Earth, Wind & Fire are the reasons. There are reasons for everything that you do, whether consciously or subconsciously. The reasons that we feel. Excuse me, I can tell I'm a professional singer. But anyway, no, this was so important though. Assess the triggers. Listen to me carefully. You don't listen to anything else. Everything that you do or don't do is for a reason, whether you realize it or not. So assess the triggers. Even don't be in denial. Awareness is so important. Why did you eat that? Why did you do that? And it's okay, don't beat yourself up. It's just important that you're aware. And when I was thinking about it, my trigger yesterday was nostalgia. It reminded me of that apple fritter, reminded me of my childhood, you know what I mean? And had me thinking, man, oh, this is gonna be fire, you know what I mean? And by the way, I had a little joke I was thinking about, like, I don't know if Adam and Eve, Eve tempted Adam with the apple. They say it's a fruit, who knows? But I'm thinking if it was an apple, well, my wife just tempted me with an apple fritter yesterday, and I failed. But no, look, she didn't force nothing, baby. If you're watching this, you did not force me to eat that apple fritter, so do not feel bad about yourself. I made that choice. I'm a whole grown man, all right? I did it myself. Anyway, assess the trigger. That trigger for me yesterday was nostalgia. The trigger for me, yesterday was nostalgia. For today, it was, I don't know what the trigger was for today. Maybe I was a little tired from waking up. I'm gonna have to pray on that. Anyway, B is breathe and bless yourself. A is assess the triggers. That part is so important. C is important as well, and that's course correct. Course correct. Don't say, oh, I'm gonna have a bad day or my day's ruined. Here before said, if you think you're gonna be successful and if you think you're gonna fail, you're right. You're right. So don't beat yourself up. Assess the triggers. Course correct. When I say course correct, start drinking some water. You want to start flushing out that stuff that you just consumed. It's okay. Eat some protein or have some protein handy because, like for me, I've been doing keto. So you could feel when you're deep in ketosis, you can feel when your blood sugar starts to rise. It's like, whoa! And then you can feel it when it's gonna crash too. So I'm gonna have some protein handy so that when I do get hungry, I'm gonna have something satiated, something nutritious. All right, so course correct. Move your body, walk around, help your food digest. So that's course correct. Plan for the rest of the day. I might fast for the rest of the day. I'm gonna see how it goes, but I'm not gonna just keep eating junk just because I failed earlier today. And then the last K for back is keep it moving. And keep it moving with grace, right? That means don't sweat it, right? Life is too short. They say that if you catch a flat while you're driving, quitting because you caught a flat is like, let me just slash the rest of the tires, right? I already failed with one tire, let me just slash the rest of them. No, That doesn't make any sense. Make that make sense. So don't beat yourself up. So again, B, breathe and bless yourself. A, assess your triggers. C, course correct. And K, keep it moving. All right, with grace. Give yourself some grace. Don't be harsh on yourself. Be kind to yourself. All right? I believe in 1 Corinthians 10:43, it tells us that there's no temptation, I'm summarizing, but there's no temptation that's too great for us to bear. There's no temptation that's too great for us to bear. God will provide a way for us to endure and to escape. So remember that you got this. All right? All right, so that's what's on my cross today. That's temptation. All right, so always be blessed. Stay faithful. Never flop. Never fold. And my question for you today is, what's on your cross today? Peace.